my grandmother, Lita Bell Johnson, was notorious for her one-pot cooking. She didn't like to wash a lot of dishes, so she did a lot of one-pot cooking. She would save chicken livers, gizzards, necks, backs, and if she was lucky, sometimes she would find chicken feet at the meat store. After she had collected enough chicken parts, she would lovingly construct a delectable dish called chicken perlo. Sometime, if she had not collected enough parts, she would substitute with fresh neck bones. Neck bone perlo. Now, when you cook this dish, you can't economize when it comes to the butter and the black pepper. Can I tell you, when my grandmother, Lita Bell Johnson, would cook chicken perlo, there would be so much tenderism and yumminess in one pot. I stopped by here today to say to us that Psalms 91 is really one pot cooking. Everything you need is in there. Every promise for divine protection is in these 3 verses. You got a minute? I was pastoring over at St. James Bartow, and I've been there for 2 years, and in their account, they had over $250,000. But one Saturday morning, I received a call from Bishop Cousins, and he said to me, on tomorrow, you are now the pastor of New Bethel AME Church, Lakeland. Well, over at St. James, they could put their hands on over $250,000. I was assigned overnight to a church that had fallen into foreclosure. The pressure was on. Time was running out. Morale was depleted. The congregants were financially stretched and exhausted. So I knew I had to do something. So I agreed to 5 weeks of revival, back to back. I had to bring something to the table. I couldn't ask the people to do more than I was willing to do. And so 5 weeks revival, back to back. I'm in the 5th week, and I'm at the Mount Zion AME Church in Miami Garden. The Reverend Roger Adams, the pastor. Here it is, the last night of the 5th week of revival. The atmosphere was spiritually charged with Pentecostal power and fervor. The church was packed from the floor to the balcony. And there were over a dozen pastors in the pulpit area. There was a plethora of denominations. They came from a plethora of denomination and ethnic backgrounds. really, that night we experienced an Azusa Street experience right there at Mount Zion. Can I tell you, after the preachment, when I rendered the appeal for folk to follow Jesus and to come for prayer without hesitation, without any reservation, without procrastination, the altar was filled to its capacity. During this epic moment, I realized I was physically in trouble. Hallelujah. I commissioned the pastors in the pulpit area to go down and to minister to the people. And I immediately sat down in an attempt to recover, but my condition worsened. I began to physically deteriorate. After the pastors had ministered to the eager worshipers, the senior pastor, Reverend Adams, thanked everybody and called me to come forward with closing remarks and to render the benediction. I could barely get up out of my chair. I asked everybody to stand, and as I began to pronounce the blessing, I noticed my speech was slurred. I said to myself, you might possibly be having a stroke. Then I collapsed, man down. Believe it or not, as I was down on the floor, the church was submerged in authentic worship. The church never panicked, but instead they were constant in praise and prayer. I'm almost through. But I was up. I was weak, but I was still strong. I was out, but I was still in it. I was confused,